there can be two things at play, like things that that are happening to us and we don't understand why necessarily, but we're experiencing them. And then sometimes, and often, the other piece of it is that we are creating our reality with our thoughts, with our beliefs. And that is tricky because you don't want to go around saying like, oh, this bad thing happened because of you. You created it because of you're not doing it right, or you're not thinking right, or you're not aligned with something, which can be true, but it's not necessarily helpful for us to think that, to go around thinking that we're not doing it right, because then we beat ourselves up and then we get stuck in an even lower vibration, right? But that is a factor, and I think it is important for us to look at that. And you're doing everything, and it feels like you're doing everything, and it's still, quote, not working. Sometimes it's like, well, first of all, there's time, like change takes time. And then it's also like, well, what else might be going on? I'm a big believer of like looking at the whole picture. It's kind of like you go to a doctor and you have something wrong, and they're like, all right, let's look at your diet. Let's look at how much you're moving your body. Let's look at, genetics, like all the things, so we're looking at what are your thoughts? What's the nature of the beliefs that you might be carrying about yourself or about reality that you might not even be aware of, but that are contributing to the thoughts you're having. And then it's like, okay, the thoughts often create the emotions that we experience, and the emotions we experience bring about the energy that we're in, and our energy is our vibration. And as much as we can, we want to try to, we're being asked to kind of bring in as much light to heal, to clear up our vibration. Now, that doesn't mean like force yourself to think positive or beat yourself up if you know you're in a lower vibrational state, because that's part of the healing is, experiencing the darkness and really understanding it and seeing it for what it is, all the negative beliefs, all the shadow stuff, the self-doubt, the regret, the shame, the anger, the fear. Like really look, like what is this about? What's it connected to in my life? Where did it come from? Almost always it's parents, not always, but almost always it's childhood, as wonderful as they were. And then how did that affect me at the time? How is it continuing to affect me? What might my life be like if I were to let it go? If I were to let this sort of belief that I'm carrying, or story, or energy, there's forgiveness of others, that are we holding a grudge? Are we holding anger? Like really that's just hurting us, right? What would happen if I were to let that stuff go? And that's when you have that future self possibility of all these beautiful things that we long for ourselves that, can come in when we attune ourselves to that vibration.